Okay. So we have been discussing how to offer prayers based on the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So we were seeing how the Gita verses can be approached in different ways. One of them is to analyze them philosophically or understand the meaning. But one way is how Prabhupada actually presents a very devotional understanding of all the verses. So inspired by that, I'm writing a book where trying to see the Bhagavad Gita's verses itself as sources or seeds for prayers. So each verse is rendered poetically, in English poetry, and then some prayers are offered based on that verses. So we discussed 36 and 37 yesterday. So let's move on to 38. Now Krishna, so in the first verse, Arjuna asks, what impels us to destructive action? Self-destructive action. And 37, Arjuna's answer is, so Krishna's answer is that it is a desire that is there in us, kamesha, especially the desire that does krodha, that is angry against any kind of boundaries. So the kama that has krodha toward dharma. Now dharma, artha, kama, moksha is there. So dharma is the foundation, that's ethics, that's boundaries. So Krishna later on said, dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bhardashu. Calm that doesn't go against dharma is not a problem. But calm that goes against dharma, that is a big problem. So the kama that has a krodha towards dharma, that means, why should I enjoy only within these boundaries? Why cannot enjoy beyond that? So that is the enemy Krishna says. It's kama with krodha against dharma. Now this particular desire, so if you look at the sequence of the verses, what happens in this? 36 the question, so it starts from 37 itself. So 37 is describing the identity. That what is the enemy? It's kama with krodha for dharma. Now the word dharma has different meanings, but here it is sense of boundaries. Then 38 is talking about the garb. The garb is the appearance. How does it look? In what form does it come? Then 39 talks about how its action. How does it act? 40 talks about its location. Then 41 talks about the first solution. How do you deal with this? 42 talks about the inner hierarchy. That means we'll discuss if we get time to go there. 43 talks about the final solution. This is how Krishna is guiding us to deal with the inner war. So say, if India is fighting against Pakistan, Pakistan is over there, they're across the border, they will attack. But if we are fighting against some terrorists who have already infiltrated into Kashmir, then first we have to identify who are they, isn't it? Okay, who are the terrorists? Then we also need to have, how they look. Sometimes people have multiple aliases or multiple looks. Sometimes somebody is a beard, somebody without a beard, somebody like this, somebody like that. We try to understand their forms in which they come. Then we have to understand, how do we identify a terrorist? They set up bombs over here, they try to threaten people, they extort money. In the activities by which you identify the terrorists. And then, which are the typical hideouts? Oh, there are these mountains, in this there are caves, some of the places they stay over there. These are these corners they stay over here. This particular village, the entire village has become very radicalized. Many of the people over here are terrorists or terrorist sympathizers. So like that, once we understand, then we can start taking action. So, first action Krishna says is sensory regulation. Today morning I talked about boundaries. That is first Krishna talks about boundaries. And the next final solution is the spiritual redirection. That is the bond we need to establish. So, evam buddhe param buddhva. So, now here Krishna is going to talk about the various forms in which this enemy comes. Now let's look at that. So here where it says the enemy is inside us. So now basically we can't see anything inside us, isn't it? That somebody says, look within you. Say, what do you mean? How do I look first of all? And what is there within? It's very complicated. So when Krishna uses metaphorical language to explain what is inside us. So let's recite this verse. So Vahani is fire, Dhume is smoke. Avriyate. Dhume navriyate Vahani. Then Darsha is, that is darshan, that is a mirror. Mala is dust. Yatha darsho malena cha. Then Ulbain is the embryo or the life that is there inside. Garbha is the womb. Avruta again is covered. Yatholbain avruto garbhas. Tatha, similarly, by that idam, this soul is, this being, this self is avrutam, is covered. Tatha tenedam avrutam. Together once. Dhume avriyate vahani yatha darsho malena cha yatholbain avruto garbhas. As fire is covered by rising smoke, as dust on a mirror acts like a cloak, as the moon keeps unknown the life that is within, so is wisdom lost to the desire that drives us to sin. So is wisdom lost to the desire that drives us to sin. We have a mic. Let us start reading.
My dear Lord, what makes the inner enemy of destructive desire so difficult to deal with? It is that comes in different grabs and sees threatening to different degrees at different times.
So there is the word grab and there is the word garb. So grab is to catch forcefully. Garb is like a dress, a mask, a disguise. So it comes in different garbs. It appears in different ways. And it seems to be, it doesn't always seem to be equally threatening. If somebody comes with a gun pointed at us, this is a threatening person. If somebody comes with a smile on their face and they want to hug us, and they hug us, and then they stab us from behind. And they look like a friend. But there are different ways in which they come. So, next would like to read some.
When my craving is just like smoke around fire, I can notice its presence and I feel that I can deal with it.
Yes. So here the craving is not so much. So just like when there is fire and there is smoke, we know there is fire behind the smoke, and yeah, I can deal with this. You can stoke the fire, the smoke will go away. So like that, at this stage, what happens is, say we got to college, and we go to workplace, and we want to focus on our work or our studies. At the same time, maybe there are people who are dressed in somewhat revealing clothes, or somebody is very finely attractive. And then there's a little agitation. Little attraction, little agitation is there, but we are aware of it. I want to focus. I have better things to do in my life. So we are aware of it. There is a little agitation, but we feel we can deal with it. It's like the problem is there, but the problem doesn't seem very threatening at that time. So, in one sense, at this level, the craving is present, but it doesn't appear very threatening. So, if we are going along on the road and we know there is a poster somewhere, the billboard is there that has some image. Now we see it, maybe that image is a little indecent. We see it, we are aware of it, when we move our eyes away. Now, we don't really focus on it. Every day if we are going along that road, we know this is there, but let my eyes go in that direction. So this is as a stage where it is manageable. So you can put it this way that in terms of the gar also refers to its strength. So say if I am here at this place, the enemy seems to be here. So this is like smoke and fire. The enemy is smaller than me and I can deal with it. But then the enemy starts becoming bigger. And then the enemy becomes much, much bigger than us. So in different stages, the enemy has different levels of strength. So this is. Now we could say this is the soul, specifically the Atma, but this is the Buddhi of the Atma. It is Jnana or Buddhi that is overcome. And this is Kama. So let's look at the next level. Yeah.
When it is like a layer of dust covering me, I don't even realize that it has
Obscured me.
obscured me. Because I tend to forget, at least temporarily, that there is a being that is different from the superficial and carnal desires driving me.
Yes. So that I am a person, that I have many desires, many aspirations, many dreams, many values, different from this particular desire. See, when we say to identify with our body, that is there. But what happens many times, people identify with a particular desire. And say, if somebody is a big cricket fan, and right now India-Pakistan match is going on, somebody is a cricket fan, then what happens? Sarva dharman parityaja. Just forget everything else. That particular desire becomes the most prominent. That's what I want to fulfill. So nowadays there's a lot of LGBTQ kind of agitation, lesbian, gay, bisexual, all those things. So now, okay, some people may be wired differently. Some people, what happens for most of us is that when the soul comes into a particular body, the soul identifies with that body. But for some people, because of some weird karma, they come into a particular body, but the soul has a jet lag. Or you can call it a transmigration lag. The soul is identifying with the body it had previously. So somebody might be in a male body right now, but the soul is identifying with the female body that it had previously. And that's why people, they have a sexual orientation that is different from their particular body type. No, that might be there. Why make that your identity? Okay, if that's the way your body is wired. Okay, so that's one part of your life. Why make that the defining identity? Some of us are males, some of us are females. There are no females here, but there are 50% of the world is male, 50% of the world is female. Now, how much is the fact that I am a male a part of my identity? It's an important part. But is that our soul identity? We can say, of course, our identity is souls. But that is a fundamental line. Functional level, I may be an engineer, I may be a software employee, I am an Indian, I am a South Indian, I am a young person, I am a middle-aged person. We have so many different identities. Why identify with one particular desire and the fulfillment of that desire? So what happens when this yatha-darsho maninacha. So here the example is that normally there's a little dust on the mirror. You can't see clearly. But if there is so much dust on the mirror, then you don't see the mirror only. All that you see is the dust. So here we have, in which familiar verse does this metaphor of a mirror come? Cheto darpana marjanam. So our mind can play three different roles. Our mind can be like a window. Our mind can be like a TV screen. And our mind can be like a mirror. So what does this mean? This is the soul. This is the mind. This is the body. So the soul is like a small circle. The mind is like a screen in front of it, and this is the body. So now the soul, mind, and body are there. And what happens is that when sensory inputs come from outside, some perception, some information, sensory data is coming. So like right now you are seeing what I am writing. So then that is coming on the mind. And then what is happening is you, the soul, is watching it. And so information from the outer world is coming and it's being presented on the mind. So in one sense, the mind is like our window to the outer world. So the mind is a window. That's where the mind gets connected with the senses. Now, the mind, when it acts as a TV screen, at that time, it gets connected with the samskaras. Samskaras are the impressions within the mind. So sometimes what pops up in the mind is primarily from its own past impressions. Like somebody has been bitten by a dog in their childhood. And they see a small dog, even if it's a tiny, cuddly little poodle. They see the dog, oh, this dog will bite me. And when I was bitten, I had so much pain, I had to take injections for rabies, and a horror movie starts off. Then when they start trembling, I feel, oh, what's the matter? It's such a harmless dog. But what has happened is, the mind is not seeing the dog at once. The mind is actually seeing some terrifying, scary image and movie based on its past impressions. So the mind can act as a movie screen. And when the mind acts as a mirror, it focuses on the soul. That means basically, what is coming here is, it's like this. It's the soul. The soul is seeing itself. So the mind can act as a mirror. Cheto darpana marjanam. So this is the time when we can start seeing ourselves. Right now, our mind practically never acts like a mirror. Now, to some extent, even self-observation, we were not at the level of the soul. So, understanding ourselves, okay, I tend to get a little agitated when things don't go my way. Everybody gets agitated, but I tend to get a little extra agitated, more than others. That is also self-observation. The capacity for self-observation is there when the mind acts like a mirror. So here, only when there is a mirror, okay, there is a me over here. Like somebody is watching a movie, they're so caught in watching the movie that they forget that I am here. I am here different from whatever movie is going on. So, generally speaking, there are hundreds and thousands of movies are released every year. In Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, Mollywood, what all is there. So now, out of these, most movies don't do very well. They become flops. Now, why do movies flop? Lack of content. Sorry? People cannot connect themselves. Okay, you are replying like a movie reviewer. It's a valid reason. But if you want to go at a bigger perspective, why are movies flop? Because the illusion is not good enough. So the illusion could be the story, the illusion could be the characters, the illusion could be the acting, the illusion could be the background, whatever it is. If the illusion is not good enough, then you get bored, you can't connect with it. So now, for all of us, if the illusion is very good, in the sense that we just completely get absorbed, we just forget ourselves. So for us, when the desire becomes very strong, then it's like the person is so lost in watching the movie that they forget I'm there. Somebody's watching a horror movie and they're scared and trembling. Somebody's watching an action movie. They're as if they're in the movie. So they forget their existence separate from the movie. So like that, when yatha darsho malenacha, when the desire and karma is so strong that the mind is so covered with it, it doesn't act like a mirror at all. The mirror is covered in such a thick film that there's no mirror at all. We forget ourselves. That's why What is said over here? That I don't even realize it has obscured me. Like somebody is lost in a movie, they're so lost that they don't even know they're lost. Isn't it? They were trembling and we child movie, in a horror movie, we were completely fearful. It's completely lost in it. So because I forget, at least temporarily, that there is a me that is different from that particular desire. So that desire becomes almost equated with me. In the second chapter, Krishna uses the word Kamatmanah Swargapara. So Kama becomes the Atma of the person. It's like the Kama, now the Atma is different, but Kama becomes the Atma means the person becomes defined by that desire only. That, so Dehatma Buddhi, that means the Deha is treated like the Atma. So like that the Kama is treated like the Atma. And the person starts identifying with that completely. And then the person just cannot function. So this is a much more harmful level. People just get completely caught. Say for example now, let's say somebody, you fall in love. Now, why is it fall in love? Why not stand in love? Why? Because you just forget everything over there. You just put it. It's almost it's an overpowering attraction that you just lose awareness of what is going on. Then, but further, that is much more harmful to the mind.
And when desire becomes like a home covering the life within, I am so lost, buried deep under the layers of desires that it takes a long time for me to even remember that there is spiritual essence to me, let alone recover the destiny.
Yes. So, at least with respect to Yatha Darshobalinacha, it's like a spell. It's a romantic attraction that is there. According to different psychologists, so what they say is that it's like romance has a bench life of about 9 months. Some people say 18 months. It depends. You don't have a specific number. What does that mean? When the hormones are triggered and the person is attracted to someone, then at that time, that immense attraction, that is that overwhelming attraction, that stays for a few months. And that time the person just forgets everything else. But then, it doesn't last forever. That's why they say love is blind and marriage is an eye-opener. So, what happens is, it doesn't last forever. And it will come down after a few months. It could be a few weeks also. Some people may look very attractive. You spend a few minutes with them, they're so proud and entitled and so jealous and or so much critical of others. I don't want to spend time with people. Sometimes that spell comes out very quickly. Sometimes the spell may take more time to come out. But it come out of that spell. But, so the third one is, that so first is, in somewhat, it is Rajomana Samudbhava, but in the first one there is some Sattva. Hey, there is this attraction, I don't want to get attracted, so I have to shake this off. There is the smoke, there is the fire, I want this fire, I don't want the smoke. There is some level of Sattva over there. Now, in the second level, this Rajas, it has caught. It has made a person completely lost. The third level is what? It is so buried that it's like even if one spell gets over, the person immediately rushes into the next spell. One indulgence is over, immediately the next indulgence. Then the next indulgence. So it is, in one sense, that, say for example, if somebody gets married, somebody is attracted to someone, they get married. Now, okay, because there is attachment. But at least they are taking some responsibility with their attachment, that attraction. But for some people, it's like a perpetual hunt. They have no respect for the boundaries of dharma. Okay, you get one person, enjoy with that person, and then after some time you get bored, find another person. If somebody has wealth, somebody has good looks, they can keep doing that. But there, they may be internally extremely lonely. They know they are using others and others are using them. It's just a very, very superficial thing. There's a spell that is enjoyed, there is something wrong with it. They don't even realize that. So this is totally tamasic. Sometimes we demonize Rajoguna. Rajoguna itself is not a bad thing. The world requires Rajoguna for functioning. Now, Rajoguna when it becomes contaminated or dominated by Tamoguna, it becomes a problem. If Rajoguna is guided by Sattva-guna, it's excellent. But Rajoguna is largely required for the functioning of the world. We see in the Bhagavatam that when Kadamuni and Devahuti were in the forest, when Devahuti desired to have a child, Kadamuni was doing the service and wanted to give her a child. The atmosphere there was so sattvic that there was no desire only for her. So then what did they do? Kadamuni created a beautiful palace. And then this uses the pause to create a palace, and he created female attendants for her. They obeyed her, cleaned her, and beautified her. And then they united and Kapildev was born. So the point is that Rajas itself is not a problem. In many ways, Rajas is required for the functioning of the world. But Tamas is very dangerous. So the Prabhupada writes in the 16th chapter how in today's world, marriage has become practically like an imagination. What that means is that people want physical indulgence without any kind of responsibility. And that's even materially it is disastrous, what to speak of spiritually. Materially society cannot function like that. Now Europeans and Americans are becoming more aware of it. What is happening in Europe and America, the population is alarmingly decreasing. That in Europe and America, if you just look at the white people, the Caucasians they call it, the white people, their reproduction rate is so low that America and Europe would die out if there were no immigrants. And if people from other countries were not coming. So now in London itself, the number of Muslims is more than the number of whites. Number of British, in London specifically, number of British white people. So they wanted immigrants to come in because the people themselves are not reproducing. Not that they're not having sex, but they're not reproducing. So it is totally tamasic. And society cannot function like that. That's why now there are some conservatives who are saying that we need to have a stable family structure, and we need to prioritize having children and taking care of children. So Tamoguna is so dead toxic that even materially society cannot flourish. So that's for a long time. People just are not even aware what is happening. So the karma can infect us slightly, severely, and almost fatally. So slightly, significantly, severely, let's say. So that's what. Now what do we do?
Please, O Lord, let me stay alert. Let me not lower my guard or whatever.
Yeah. Lower my guard. If we know there's an enemy, then we keep our guard up. Now, Israel, what happened with the Hamas is that they lowered their guard. Now they had high-tech walls and high-tech barriers, but the Hamas just broke the cameras and destroyed it. They had a programming thing, whatever they did. Still inquiries going on, but they had not kept any physical guards over there. And they just came and brutalized. What they did was horrible. So if we lower our guard, the enemy is always there watching. Then we grab that opportunity.
I remember that at any moment I can get so caught that I may not even realize that I am caught. Bless me, O Lord, to remember your words of warning and more importantly your words of the spiritual joy that awaits me if I can be free from this morbid desire.
Yes. There are two different things over here. See, we may get caught, but if we are in the association of devotees, or at least in the association of people who have some sattvic values, then what will happen is, we will be warned about it. We will be warned, we will be alerted. Sometimes people nowadays, the idea is, in the West, they have this idea of open marriages. It's a weird idea. Open marriages means both husband and wife agree that they will have physical relations with other people. So the wife is going out with some other man, the husband is going out with some other woman. There's no marriage only over there. They say, it's open. But it is basically, in such a situation, what happens? Normally, if any culture, society, lust is so great that lust will not even let a person stay responsibly within the grahastha life. So if in a culture, society is there, some level of sattvic society is there, or even some level of rajas is there, let's say if a man is trying to have a relationship with some woman other than the wife, then there are other people who don't do such a thing. If the wife is having a relationship like that, there are other women who will tell you, this is, you ruin your life by this. But if society is so distorted that if somebody does like this, hey, you're so clever. You're so clever. So, and people start glamorizing such a thing. What will happen is you will get caught and will not even realize you're caught. So that's why this social culture, it's very important. So sometimes we can get so caught and we don't even realize we are caught. And for us, when Krishna is giving these warnings, this is a deadly enemy. It's important to know that we become cautious. But like yesterday we discussed, we take Maya seriously, but we also want to take Krishna seriously. That there is a greater joy available for us. Now, Srila Prabhupada did present. Very few times he talked about how, if somebody gives it to lust, the result will be you go to hell and you will suffer in hell. That's why you give up lust. And after fifth canto, there's a description of various hellish planets. But if you see Prabhupada's classes, he doesn't talk about, he doesn't create fear of hell. What Prabhupada says is, we are souls. And as souls, we have the potential for so much greater happiness. This happiness is to chum. This is punah punah chandra charmanana. So his focus is not on creating fear. His focus is on creating awareness. Creating awareness that we can have so much more happiness. So why should we settle for something which is so flickering, so superficial, so external? So that's why our tradition is not so much about creating fear. For us, the fear is, of course, fear is healthy. Fear that we may get caught. Fear that we may be captivated by Maya. But for us, the focus is not the fear. The focus is Krishna. That Krishna is our Lord and Krishna wants a much better life for us. And if we persist in staying connected with Krishna, then that better life will come to all of us. Go ahead.
I beg you, O Lord, let your words stay alive within me. For that is what will keep me alive. Even while this deadly enemy is still alive within me.
Yeah. So even if this karma, this craving that is there, it is still alive. We're not being able to kill it till now. It's still alive, but if Krishna's words are alive within us, then we are aware. Like say, if you know, okay, the enemy is there, we're not destroying the enemy over there. But I am aware that this is the enemy. Even if that enemy looks like a friend, it's an enemy. And what happens is, then that as long as that warning is alive, then we will stay alive. We will not lower our guard, we'll be careful. So as devotees, that is, the more we remember Krishna's words, the more we will stay spiritually alive. Krishna in the second chapter says, Sruti Nash, Sruti Brahmashad, Buddhi Nasho. Buddhi Nasha, Nashyati. So if we forget Krishna's words, Sruti goes away, then what happens? Then Buddhi goes away. Buddhi goes away, then we fall. So for us, let's pray that Krishna's words that we hear, we read, is not just some duty that we have to do. It is that the nature of the world is so deceptive, and we need to hear Krishna's words for that. As long as those words are alive, then we will also stay alive spiritually. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
Yes. I hope this stays off recording. No recording. Today morning I have seen article regarding Mr. Sam Altman, who's the
Who?
Sam Altman project,
Yeah.
who is the open
I've seen that.
Yes, I read the article that he and his husband had a check this morning. I kind of bit perplexed and reread the text. Am I so again searched his name, but as I don't know him very well, that he himself declared that he is a gay openly, and he is a very good technological disruptor in means of
Yeah.
what ChatGPT is such a kind of revolution
Yeah.
you can say. So my question is probably these people, they are very influential people in the circle of technology, sphere of technology, and they can influence many people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when people read this kind of news about these people, and they become very badly influenced with about what you're saying, Ravi, the ignorance is being flourishing. And yes, Ravi, so why people are turning to this way and not getting educated spiritually in that manner?
Okay.
I forgot to tell you this, that even the IV centers are also taking the sperms of two, and he admitted that he and his husband, he's playing the female character or something,
okay.
and his husband taking the sperms of these the fertility clinics are introducing new methods for the children.
Yeah.
So I was like very confused and very kind of distraction of the mind, like where the world is going. So for some people, like
Okay. So I got a question. So 3 things over here. First is that as technology is becoming more and more powerful, humans are getting more and more opportunities to try to play God. And one of the big ways where people are experimenting is in the domain of sexuality. And all kinds of things are going on. So the biggest funded things is what we call as sex bots. Like your robots, there are sex bots. So it's a huge industry. And the idea is that nowadays relationships are not stable. Then why do you need a relationship at all? You just buy your own robot. And that robot, their dream is that you can make the robot shape like your favorite movie star. And you can get the robot to speak like that movie star, behave like that movie star. And you can fulfill whatever fantasies you have with that robot. So there is a lot of fixation on trying to, nowadays with AI, there are AI apps which act like romantic partners. They take on different voices and speak. So basically, in many ways, technology is advancing, but what is it advancing for? It is going towards Ahar, Nidra, Health and again. We're developing technology, but are we seeking any higher purpose? So yes, this whole field of fulfilling people's sexual fantasies in many different ways. Technology is doing a huge thing in that. And in fact, one of the big issues in elections in America recently was this, that there are men who claim to be women. And then the men who claim to be women, they may do some transgender surgery or not or whatever. They say, I'm a woman. And they start playing women's sports. And if a man and a woman are competing, and who is a woman can beat a man, biologically men are much stronger. So, man and a woman are playing basketball or a volleyball, and the man hits the ball, and the woman, before she can even hold the ball, she gets hit. She gets injured. So, this was becoming very alarming. And so they're saying that there are as many genders, there are 64 genders, like all kinds of genders. It's a very peculiar thing. So they say sex and gender are very different things. It's all like a whole conceptual and practical mess that they have created. So when the recent government came, they openly declared that there are only two genders. So why do you have to declare that? But things have become really messy. Now, if somebody is a transgender, then which bathroom they will use? The man claiming to be a woman, but that man goes to a woman's bathroom. The woman feels insecure over there. And there were male criminals who were put in female jails. And then they raped women over there. And it is a huge mess. So right now, there is some pushback against it. But the technological facilitation and even the intellectual rationalization of it is going on in a big way. So that's one side of it. That's the first point. So it's going on in a terrible direction and it's glamorized by society. So many devotees there's one Christian pastor, he says that he's giving a talk to women. He said that in the past, when your husband would go out of home, you knew that 50% of humanity is a potential temptation for your husband. You would keep a track on your husband. He says now 100% of humanity is a temptation for your husband. So it's a very sad situation, unfortunately. It's horrifying, it's also sad. But there is a cultural pushback against this story. The second thing is that, now I don't know what Sam Alvin specifically, but gay marriages have been more or less accepted, mainstreamed. And if somebody is biologically like that, what are we going to do about it? What can society do about it? If somebody wants to be a gay, in many ways it will be better that they have that orientation, stay with one person than keep moving with many women. So monogamy might be better than polygamy. Now, can we expect them to not engage in sexual activity? Can they get married to a person of the opposite gender? Biologically, they might be able to function, but just don't have a relationship. They just don't feel any affection. There are many gays who say that a woman's body stinks for me like a fish. The man feels no attraction towards a woman's body. So, in one spiritual tradition, Indian spiritual tradition only, there was one sannyasi who would say famously, for me a woman's body stinks like a fish, and everybody thinks so renounced. And later on became exposed that he was actually homosexual. And he was actually enjoying with many men. And people thought, oh, so much vairagya he has. So it is all crazy. So the thing is, what do you do in such a situation? Now, it could be because of Kali Yuga, these kind of things are happening more. And because things are happening more, we can do something about it. Society expect that such people be completely silenced for all time. We don't know that. So, in the past, if somebody has a sexual orientation, they have to always hide. And then sometimes they will be persecuted by society, they will be stoned to death. Christianity has been very, very harsh about homosexuals at times. Islam, of course, would also. So, if somebody has that orientation, that particular way of sexuality, if they feel so miserable, they have to hide and do things, and they come out and they're humiliated, they end their lives. There's no need to go to that extreme. So, if somebody wants to get married, if somebody wants to have a child, what people do in their bedroom, that's up to them. But what happens is this gets glamorized and becomes a problem. So even among gays, there are conservatives and there are liberals. So I know some people in the West Isles about it. There are gays who are conservatives say, but we are different from others in one particular way. Let us be different and let's all go on with life. But the gay liberals, they will say that that society is not arranged for us. So rearrange all of society. So rearrange all of society means what? if you go on Google and you search for wedding photos, you won't get man-woman photos. You'll get man-man photos also. You'll get woman-woman photos also. So they say children should know wedding is not only between man and woman. Now why do children need to know that? Isn't it? It's an insane thing. So I have a video on this. I talk about APT. Accept three things: acceptance, prominence, and transcendence. In our tradition, acceptance is possible. That is the way you are. You don't have to be persecuted for that. Acceptance is fine. But why bring prominence to it? That is the way you are. Stay that you have your space. But why bring it to everyone? Prominence is understandable. And ultimately, what is required is transcendence. That we are not our physical side is only one part of who we are. So we need to wherever whatever be the biological, psychological nature we have, so with respect to that particular activity, ultimately we have to go beyond that. Traditionally, the point is, the sexual energy is a very powerful energy. And it can be an extremely strong distraction from the spiritual path. So, now it is the responsibility of any spiritual tradition to regulate the sexual energy in such a way that it does not interfere with spiritual growth. So traditionally, marriage was the institution for most people by which sexual energy was regulated. Now, if somebody's sexual energy is directed in a homosexual way, what is the way to regulate for them? It's difficult to know at this point. So, but everybody's sexual energy needs to be regulated. So that ultimately, that energy regulation is so that they can have spiritual growth. Otherwise, people say, why do I regulate it? They just feel suffocated, they become rebellious. So how is it to be done? I don't know. But it is that these people, they are not dysfunctional people. You can call them degraded, but they are intelligent people. This is one aspect of their life. But in other areas, they are talented, they are intelligent, they are successful. Sometimes they are spectacularly successful also. So, but they definitely deserve acceptance. Everybody deserves acceptance. Everybody, whatever be their sexuality, sexual orientation, they are souls who are parts of Krishna. But there's no need to bring that into prominence. There's no need to thrust that on everyone else. There's no need to make that as a model for everyone else. So, in schools in America, at least in some, see, America is also like almost two countries. For us, America is like California, Hollywood. But that's liberal America. It's conservative America also is there. Much in the southern part is conservative. It's Midland is also. The middle part is conservative. The coastal is often quite liberal. But so in some parts of America, it's like a child goes to school. The child has a little depression. Then, if the school has a therapist asks, if a boy is really depressed, do you think you are actually a girl? That's why, because you cannot act out with girl, that's why you're depressed. The therapist put that idea in the mind of the child. It's such a crazy thing. The girl is depressed, do you think you are a boy? Yeah, maybe I'm a boy. And it's like not only people can change their gender. They can even take treatment for changing their gender in the state and the government sponsors it. And the kid does not even require the permission of the parents. And one day there was one American couple who came to me and said, no, but boy, one day just came back from school and said, I'm a girl. And you refer to me as a girl. And if you don't refer to me as a girl, then you are abusive parents. The government will come and arrest you. So there's an Indian couple, their boy did like this. They just, he threatened, if you don't refer to me as a girl, I'll call you. I'll call the police. So they were so alarmed that they just decided we were going to leave America. So they gave some sleeping medicine and they took a plane and then they came back to India. Came back, hey, what have you done? Now you can call the police. So it is unfortunately a very crazy situation. So what you do, I think spiritual knowledge is required. We have to present spiritual knowledge in a way that does not that is reasonable for people. See, although at one level, what they are doing it seems crazy to us. But if you talk with them, there's a logic to it, what they are doing. It's a tragic logic, but there is a logic to it. And if we just come off as condemning it, then people will just condemn and reject us. They will not even be ready to hear us. So it is not easy to do outreach in the West. So I was staying in one place and doing outreach, and then I used to go there regularly, 2-3-4 times a year. I got to know a lot of people over there. And one day then 2 girls came and they said, we want your blessing, we are getting married. So I was quite naive. I said, to whom? And the organizer watching me just with a sour face. And then I understood. Both of the girls were holding hands. So they were going to get married to each other. So then I told them that, as a representative of a particular spiritual tradition, I cannot offer you my blessings, but as an individual, I offer you my best wishes. So it's a difficult situation that they are they're spiritually interested. The spiritual seekers, but that's the way they are functioning. So what do? We have to be very, on one side we have to be firm in our principles, but at the same time we have to be sensitive that we don't alienate people. Especially in liberal America, it's a huge chaos. And not just America, actually Canada and France and Australia, New Zealand, things will be even worse. So America at least has a conservative side where there is a pushback. So conservatives are becoming a little more influential in Europe also. New Zealand had a very, very liberal government. And then that fell, and now the current government is not really conservative, it's a little more conservative than before. So slowly there's a pushback. There's definitely a pushback in this government. Okay. So let's take one more verse. Any other question?
The verse that you explained here, it speaks of the different levels at which the lust covers soul's identity. But in the starting, you are telling it speaks about the car with which the lust covers. How does it go?
See, for us, lust itself is invisible. So even if something is invisible, then what dresses it really? It's like you can't perceive that. So when I say the car, what I was saying is that it's metaphorical car. It's a metaphor, but it's like the extent of the power that is there. So sometimes it feels weak, sometimes it feels very strong. Sometimes it's so strong that we don't even realize that we are enslaved by it. So let's take one more verse and then we'll stop. So Avritam Jnanam Iti. By this the Jnana is covered. Jnano Itya Vairena. It is a constant enemy. This is not an enemy that stops even after we die. It comes and chases us next time also. Kama Rupena Kaunte. This is in the form of Kama Arjuna. Dushpurena Ananicha. They make a fire. Ananda is fire. Dushpura is it never gets satiated. This keeps burning more and more. So, Avritam Jnanam Etena Jnanino Nitya Vairina Kamarupena Kauteya Dushpurena Cha. Covered is wisdom by this eternal foe, desire which tends to endlessly grow. Like a ferocious fire, unhinged and untamed, it burns insatiable, never ready to be restrained. Yeah. Who let me? Who has the mic?
My dear Lord, Please help me understand that the things that tempt me away from you are not just an illusion or even a dangerous illusion. They are dangerous and
Treacherous.
treacherous illusion.
So the idea is, it's an illusion, but it is a treacherous. Treacherous means it does not appear to be like you. In a treacherer, a gaddar, the person whom we trust, the person betrays us. So like that, lust does not appear to be like anything. It appears to be somebody who promises us pleasure. But then it betrays us and gets us into trouble. Or to be able to see that is very difficult. It's like some people, they are very extroverted. So there are some people who say, for example, they ask us to invest money in this product, in this project, in this shares, in this stock. And some people are very genuine investors and they give us some good returns. But some people are very sweet talkers, they take all the money and go. So what happens is, if you're going to invest money, you have to be careful to know whether this person actually trustworthy or not. So like that, we have to invest our time, our life, our so many things into a particular interaction. So when we follow a particular desire, what I'm doing, we're investing our time in that desire, our energy in that desire. So is it really trustworthy? So it is, it promises one thing and delivers, comes to a different thing, the opposite thing. So it's like a treacherous illusion. Go ahead. Yeah.
The craving for such things burns within my heart like a fire, but it is unlike any other fire. Normally, when a fire burns severely, I reflexively move away from it. But this is a fire that draws me closer to it the more it burns. And I go closer, not as a firefighter to extinguish it, but as a deluded arsonist, setting my own life on fire.
So it's like when the fire comes, don't move away from the fire. Here, we grow closer, we fuel the fire. We set our own house on fire. So the idea of desire as a fire is not unknown. So it's like sometimes in the movies also you have songs Sawan Jo Aag Lagaye. So the idea is that at a particular desire, particular season, their sexual desire becomes stronger. But then they think that by indulging in it, the desire will go away. So what happens? Why do we go closer to it? Because we think that the desire, by indulging in it, the fire will go down. But let's see what happens.
Indulgence seems to temporarily extinguish the flame, but the relief from the craving lasts only for a brief while, and then the craving returns, with indulgence being the fuel that feeds it. I have experienced how insignificant cravings, because of indiscriminate indulgence, end up becoming irresistible.
Yeah. So basically, see, all of us experience this to some extent. And there's some desire that is troubling us. Do this, eat this, watch this, touch this. We do it. After that, see, initially what happens is, when there is indulgence. By indulgence, I mean sense gratification. When there is indulgence, initially there is pleasure. Some pleasure is there when we eat something, when we watch something. But after some time, it's not pleasure, it's only relief. What is happening is, initially, if the craving is not really strong, okay, let me do this, let me enjoy it. But after some time, as the conditioning becomes stronger, then there is a great torment. The torment is do it. Something is like goading us from within. And at that time, when we do it really simply, the tension is gone now. And so we do feel some relief. But what is the nature of this relief? Say, let's imagine this is a fire. So if it is a fire, it's burning, and I put a log of wood in it. Then what will happen is, the fire will disappear. But it will disappear for how long? till the wood catches fire. And once the wood catches fire, then the fire will not only reappear, it will stop. So like that, from us, when we indulge, we do get some relief, no doubt. So the desire goes on, that relief is deceptive. Now in Tantra, Tantra's idea is that if there is a fire, and if you just enjoy so much, you take a huge log of food and put so much wood on it, enjoy so much, the fire will get extinguished by the enjoyment. Now that is one idea of Tantra, especially left-hand Tantra. But the problem with that is, first of all this is very intangible. We don't know how big is the fire inside us. And we don't know how much wood will be big enough for that. Isn't it? So if the fire is bigger, already and we put a huge wood, then after the huge wood catches fire, then it's a deadly thing. So can a lot of enjoyment lead one to okay, there's no point in this, let's do something bigger in life. Maybe, but it's a very dangerous thing. Most often what happens is, when one enjoys a lot, all that it leads to is, when one enjoys a lot, and after that there's nothing in this. What that leads to is frustration. And it is a big misconception. Frustration is not the same as renunciation. Frustration and renunciation, what is the difference? It's, there is a desire to enjoy and there is the ability to enjoy. So in frustration, the desire is there, the ability is not there. In renunciation, the ability may be there, but the desire is not there. So the two are almost opposite. So generally, by excessive indulgence, frustration may come out. But frustration is not renunciation. In today's world, there is a lot of frustration among people. But now, can frustration lead eventually to renunciation? Frustration, if it is followed by purification. Purification means one does some serious sadhana by which, okay, this desire, I experience is pointless. Now I actually purify myself with this desire. Replace with some higher desire. When sadhana comes, then it will lead to purification, to renunciation. So this is a very dangerous way. That by indulgence we will go beyond it. It doesn't happen like that. So now this is the Dushpuren Ananinacha. Dushpuren. It's like a fire. It seems to grow bigger and bigger. Go ahead.
This craving is so carefully inset that it makes me disbelieve, not just the words of wisdom I hear from you and those devoted to you, but also my own past experiences. It blinds me to the numerous times I have personally realized the utility and follow of such indulgence.
Folly of such indulgence. What it means is that, see, we ourselves have experienced it's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. Like somebody decides to, I want to reserve this and that, and spend half an hour, 1 hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, and after I just get frustrated. Delete all this, I will cut off my computer access, throw away my device. But after some time, what happens? After a few days, again the desire comes, and then maybe one part of us says, there's nothing in this. But another part, it's like that. So it's just overwhelming. It's just, we're not just rejecting the words of Shastra, the words of Guru Sangha Shastra. This craving becomes so much that we reject our own experience. Our own experience, to whatever extent we have an experience, see, okay, there's nothing that big about this pleasure. It's tuition. It's there, it's for a very short while. So, but the nature of the craving becomes so strong, and we are not only rejecting Shabda, we are also rejecting Pratyaksha. Our own experience we end up rejecting that. Yeah.
I beg you, oh Lord, help me remember the deceptiveness of worldly desire, and more importantly, let me remember the mercifulness of your heart. Only by these two remembrances can I stay safe in these temptations till the end.
Yes. Like Maya is deceptive, but Krishna is still merciful. And to the extent we remember this, yeah, I am in a dangerous world, but Krishna is there. Let me take shelter of Krishna. Sometimes what happens is because maybe we have indulged in wrong ways, so we may become so discouraged thinking that I am very fallen. Yes, no matter how fallen I am, but Krishna is strong enough to elevate me. So some will say, I am so fallen that if I come to the temple will get contaminated. That is not humility, that is ego in the mask of humility. To think that my capacity to make things impure is more than Krishna's capacity to make things pure. Nowadays, a lot of people are going to the Kumbh for bathing. So, one of my devoted friends was telling me that. So he invited his colleague to come. He said, we are also it's going to be a lot of food to leave there. And he can already say, actually, if I go there and I bathe in the Ganga will be contaminated. No, that's just an excuse. But anyways, so what happens is, now if somebody openly says like that, we understand it is just foolish to say like that. But we also need to think like that. Have any of you heard the statement? I'm a fallen soul. We've all heard the statement. And for us, what happens is, the fallen becomes so big that we forget it very soon. So, fallen is also a temporary designation. Just like being a maid, being an Indian, being an engineer, these are designations. So, fallen is also a designation. We should identify with the designation so much, we forget that we are souls. So, fallen is the power of Maya. And we need to be aware of the power of Maya. But we are souls, and there is the power of Krishna. Krishna never rejects us. No matter what we may have done, Krishna will never get so angry with us. Krishna, I have discussed it with you. I will leave your heart and go away. I will never be the Paramatma in your heart. Krishna doesn't say that ever. We don't have ever the power to do anything that will make Krishna stop loving us. So Krishna always loves us. Krishna always wants the best for us. Krishna is always there to help us rise upwards. So we need to remember the mercifulness of Krishna and take shelter of that Lord. And by His mercy, Machittaha Sarvadragani Madhprasada Shisi. So by my mercy, will rise above all obstacles. Let us pray that Krishna that I need to become conscious of the power of Maya, but please my Lord, let me not become so Maya conscious, whether in its form of how enjoyable it is or how dreadful it is. Let me not become so conscious that I don't become Krishna conscious. Dear Lord, you are my hope, you are my shelter. It is by remembering you that I can be free from whatever conditions I have. Please, Lord, let me always be conscious of you. So, Krishna, keep I'll summarize. We discussed two main things. We discussed verses 38 and 39. In 38, we discussed the point of degrees. So, degrees is degrees of hostility or enmity. So, calm in sattva. When we are in sattva, calm is not in sattva, we are in sattva while calm is attacking us. Then here we are aware. Aware, and then we want to aware and we are fighting. Fighting against it. It's like smoke around fire. When we are in rajas, what happens is we have lost awareness. We're caught in a spell. We're completely like somebody is watching a movie and they're just forgetting where they are and what they are doing. But when we are in tamas, so there is like a window, the mirror that the mind can teach us about the mind acts in 3 ways. As a, you remember? Mind can be a window, it can be a TV screen, or it can be a mirror. But the mind does not act like a mirror at all in the yoga. And then in tamas, what happens is that we've already lost awareness. It's like we are the spell of one object. So that particular, like somebody's watching one movie, they're lost in that movie. But when that movie gets over, okay, now what should I do? Come out of that spell. So like I said, romance and the bench life for a few months. But here, it's like we're caught in the spell. It's not of an object. It's the spell of a mentality, of a habit, of an addiction. So like one indulgence is over, like we're not caught by a movie, we are caught by the habit of movie watching. So as soon as one movie gets over, immediately, what's the next one? Turn it on and watch it. So it's like that, people just get caught in one indulgence, second indulgence, third indulgence. It's tamas. That's like the soul is completely lost. For the years and lifetimes, a person will not come out. That's like the life completely hidden in the embryo. It's not even aware. And then the 32nd verse that we discussed was that how it is action. So the action is that it acts like a fire. So avitam yamam and fire, what happens is we only fuel it. And we make it worse. So initially there will be some pleasure, but eventually there's only relief. And we seek that relief and we mistake it to be pleasure. But what happens if this is the fire, we put a log of wood, that's our indulgence, and that becomes like the wood that fuels the fire. The way out of this is that we need to remember at one level, Maya's power, and then we need to remember Krishna's power. So Maya is not just dangerous, it is treacherous. But no matter how treacherous Maya is, Krishna is merciful. So because of Maya, I may be fallen. So we discuss here about how I am a fallen soul. So we need to be aware that I am fallen. Maya's power is making me fallen, but I am a soul, that is Krishna. Krishna's power. So we focus on the soul, not on Krishna. So we remember that I am a fallen, but we remember much more that I am a soul. And when we remember that I am the soul, then remember this, but remember this much, much more. Then we will be able to move ahead and become purified by Krishna's supreme mercy. Thank you very much. Shri Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.